1 week after the United States and Israel launched attacks on Iran, the conflict has spread far beyond its original targets. Missile strikes are now reaching Israel, Lebanon, and Gulf states. Oil markets are on edge, and hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced. Here is a roundup of what exactly happened yesterday and how the region reached this point in just 7 days. The war intensified again overnight. A fresh wave of US Israeli airstrikes hit Tehran early Saturday, adding to what the US military says more than 3,000 targets struck inside Iran since the campaign began. Iran says the death toll has now risen to at least 1,332 people, with infrastructure including schools and hospitals reportedly damaged. At the same time, Iran has continued firing missiles and drones at Israel, triggering air raid sirens and explosions in Tel Aviv, northern Israel, and the Negev desert. Iran appears to be pursuing a strategy of sustained drone and missile attacks designed to stretch Israel's air defense systems and force them to use up interceptor missiles. Tehran has also issued new warnings. Iranian officials say any US or Israeli ship passing through the Strait of Hormuz could become targets, while the deputy foreign minister warned that European countries could also become legitimate targets if they join the war. The conflict is now spreading across the Gulf. Countries including Qatar, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates have all reported incoming Iranian missiles and drones. Qatar says its air defense system intercepted 9 out of 10 Iranian drones launched toward the country on Friday. Saudi Arabia has also reported intercepting multiple drones near Riyadh. Meanwhile, Kuwait has begun cutting production at some oil fields after storage facilities filled up because shipments are slowing amid the crisis. Israel is also expanding on its northern border. Hezbollah fighters have clashed with Israeli forces in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley after Israeli helicopters crossed from Syria. Israeli jets have bombed towns in southern and eastern Lebanon. Lebanon's health ministry says more than 200 people have been killed and thousands have fled their homes. Schools in Beirut are now being used as emergency shelters. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun has called on international allies to help stop the attacks, while France President Emmanuel Macron has expressed support in a phone call with Aoun. The conflict is also reaching Iraq's Kurdistan region. A drone strike hit the Arjan Bayrutana Hotel in Erbil shortly after the US Embassy warned that Iran-aligned groups might target hotels used by foreign nationals. In Washington, there are still conflicting signals about how long the war could last. The White House says the campaign may continue for 4 to 6 weeks.
I won't get ahead of the president on broadcasting any timelines. What I will tell you is what President Trump has already laid out, which is that the achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks, and we are well on our way to achieving those objectives.
While Pentagon has avoided giving clear timeline.
Our munitions are full up, and our will is ironclad, which means our timeline is ours and ours alone to control. As long as it takes to ensure the United States of America achieves these objectives. And as we flow more forces, and as we flow more capabilities, and as our munitions, as we're flying over the top, have even more devastating effects.
President Trump says defense manufacturers will quadruple weapons production to support the campaign. The first 100 hours of Operation Epic Fury alone are estimated to have cost about $3.7 billion, nearly $891 million a day, according to the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Meanwhile, both the US Senate and House of Representatives have voted to reject bipartisan war powers resolution that sought to stop the conflict, effectively backing the administration's campaign. Major powers are also becoming more involved. Russia's President Vladimir Putin spoke with Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian, offering condolences for the deaths inside Iran. US officials say Russia is also sharing intelligence with Iran about US military positions. The Kremlin says the war has already caused a surge in demand for Russian energy export.
Мы фиксируем повышение спроса, существенное повышение спроса на российские энергоресурсы, энергоносители. В связи с войной в Иране.
The announcement came just 1 day after the United States granted India a 30-day waiver related to Russian oil trade. European countries are also taking sides. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has spoken with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, pledging British military support to defend Saudi Arabia if necessary. That includes fighter jets, helicopters, and a destroyer, while additional Royal Air Force Typhoon fighter jets are scheduled to deploy to Qatar for defensive air patrols.
I can announce today that we're sending 4 additional Typhoon jets to join our squadron in Qatar to strengthen our defensive operations in Qatar and across the region.
Spain has refused to join the war despite Trump's threats.
Y por tanto no vamos a ser cómplices de algo que es malo para el mundo y que también es contrario a nuestros valores e intereses, simplemente por el miedo a las represalias de alguno. Porque nosotros tenemos una confianza absoluta en la fortaleza económica, institucional y también diría moral de nuestro país. Y porque en momentos como este nos sentimos más orgullosos que nunca de ser españoles.
The conflict is also beginning to affect the global economy, particularly aviation and energy markets. Large parts of Middle Eastern airspace were closed earlier in the week, forcing airlines to cancel flights or reroute aircraft across longer routes. Qatar's Hamad International Airport has partially reopened using emergency air corridors, while Qatar Airways has launched special repatriation flights to London, Paris, Madrid, Rome, and Frankfurt. But the bigger impact is on the global energy markets. After Iranian drone attacks targeted gas facilities, Qatar halted production at its massive LNG complex, the world's largest liquefied natural gas export hub, sending gas prices sharply higher. Oil markets have also reacted strongly. Brent crude surged to around $92 a barrel, its highest level since 2023, as traders priced disruptions to shipping through the Strait of Hormuz, the route that carries roughly one-fifth of the world's oil supply. Analysts warned that if conflict continues, oil prices could soon cross $100 a barrel, raising fuel cost and inflation risk worldwide. 7 days into the conflict, the numbers are staggering. More than 1,300 people have been killed in Iran, over 200 in Lebanon, and 11 in Israel. At least 6 US servicemen have also died. The United Nations estimate around 330,000 people have already been displaced across the region. And with one-fifth of the world's oil supply passing through the Strait of Hormuz, the war is now affecting global energy markets as well. What began as a wave of airstrikes is now turning into a multi-front regional conflict. Missiles are crossing borders, alliances are shifting, and global powers are being pulled into the crisis. And with no clear diplomatic off-ramp yet in sight, the question now is how much further this war could spread.